Okay, let's jump right into this deep dive.
So good.
We're unpacking a concept from the source material you sent over. It's a framework by Dan Nicholson called Rigging the Game.
Yeah, and it's important right off the bat to get something straight.
Definitely.
This isn't about, cheating or being unethical. The sources are really clear on that.
Crystal clear. It's actually about becoming, well, a master strategist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Intelligently understanding
Mm.
and then strategically influencing the variable.
In whatever you're doing, right? Business, finance, real estate.
Or even a creative project.
Yes.
Any endeavor, really.
And that's the core shift, I think. Most people just sort of play the game they find themselves in.
Mm-hmm. They follow the rules they're given, deal with the players around them.
Compete on the field as it is and just kind of hope the score turns out okay.
But this idea, the one in these sources, it's about something different. It suggests real success comes from actively designing the game.
Designing it to favor your strengths,
Yeah.
your goals.
Precisely. Creating that strategic advantage, not by manipulation, but through intentional architecture. Yeah. Smart setup.
Okay, so our mission here is basically to pull out these core principles
Yeah. Understand how this approach works.
and see how, you might start applying it to your own game. Let's get into it.
So the framework, it breaks any game down into four fundamental pillars.
4 pillars. And the idea is that rigging it means understanding and actively shaping each one.
Correct. First up, the rules.
The rules. Okay, so the established boundaries.
Yes, but it's broader than just laws or regulations. The sources mention industry standards, cultural norms.
Even unspoken rules, right? Like in a negotiation. Or policies you set yourself.
Exactly. All of that falls under the rules.
And how do you rig the rules then? Without breaking them, obviously.
Well, it's about deep understanding, finding the flexibility, the leverage points.
Like the example in the sources about structuring a business entity.
Right, using a less-known tax code nuance.
Right.
Perfectly legal.
But it created a big cost advantage because competitors just accepted the standard way, the standard rules.
They overlooked it. They didn't dig deep enough into the rule book, so to speak.
Okay, that makes sense. Understanding the lines and the spaces in between.
Mm-hmm. Which leads nicely to the next pillar, the players.
The players, everyone involved, customers, competitors, partners.
Employees, investors. It's the whole human element, the relationships.
So how do you influence players strategically but ethically?
The sources talk about building asymmetric relationships.
Asymmetric, meaning?
Not just good relationships, but ones that are uniquely valuable to you, or ones that are really hard for competitors to copy.
Like that anecdote about the small company and the supplier.
Exactly. Securing that exclusivity agreement. That fundamentally shifted the player dynamics for them.
It rigged access to something essential. Okay, got it.
So that's players. Then we have the playing field.
The environment. Market conditions, tech, geography, the competitive landscape.
Right, and you can't control the whole market, obviously.
No, of course not.
But as the sources highlight, you can choose where you play within that field, and maybe even shape your little corner of it.
Like finding a super specific niche. That example about geography.
Yeah, tailoring the offering so perfectly for a specific geographic niche that competing head-on became, well, impractical for others.
They didn't just enter the market, they kind of carved out and optimized their piece of it.
Optimize their position. That's the key for the playing field.
Okay, rules, players, playing field. What's the last one?
The scoreboard.
How you measure success. KPIs, financials, customer metrics.
Market share, yeah. Whatever tells you if you're winning.
And rigging the scoreboard isn't fudging the numbers, right?
Absolutely not, no. It's about defining what winning truly means for you.
Beyond just the obvious stuff like revenue.
Potentially, yes. And then designing your systems, your metrics, to drive that specific outcome.
Like the service business example. Shifting from hours billed.
To client outcome achieved. Fundamentally changed their focus, built loyalty.
And that ultimately boosted the financials anyway, but by focusing on a more strategic score.
Precisely. It realigned their entire operation around what really mattered for long-term success in their view.
So, boiling it all down, the really big idea is this shift. Moving from just reacting to the game.
To actively designing the game you actually want to play, the one you're suited for.
Yeah. By understanding and influencing these 4 pillars, rules, players, playing field, scoreboard.
You move from being passive to being an active architect.
Gaining clarity, gaining control, designing a game you're genuinely set up to win.
Not just hoping you'll win the game someone else designed.
It really does change how you look at things. Challenges, opportunities.
It's a framework for being much more intentional.
So you don't have to be just a player reacting. You can be the architect.
Focus on those pillars, gain control, design your win.
Which brings us to a final thought, maybe something for you, the listener, to consider. What one aspect of your current game, maybe it's a rule you could understand better, or a player relationship you could make more strategic, or a niche in your playing field you could own, or even just a metric on your scoreboard you could redefine, what's one thing you could look at differently starting today to begin strategically rigging it in your favor?